You think I'm the same as my value is the same as a cockroach?
No, yeah, actually, in the grand scheme of the universe, yes. I think you are about as valuable as a cockroach.
These are the future leaders of America, ladies and gentlemen. You know, just when I think that I've heard the most despicable, detestable takes on human life, right? Just when I think that people's opinions of unborn babies can't get any lower, these college kids, they take me to the curb every time, man.
Children, 3 months out of utero who are born should be allowed to be killed and disposed of.
You believe that infants have no will to keep themselves alive, that they make no attempt to stay alive?
Well, I mean, no, I actually don't make the argument because I've seen children in the womb I've seen children in the womb cry out for help as well. We have ultrasound images of abortion. So I'm actually not making that argument. I'm just helping you clarify your argument. That if you believe that a will to live is somehow pertinent to what person's right to exist.
A will to live, a consciousness has value. And I think valuing potential consciousness over an actual consciousness.
What if I'm unconscious?
Now, right there, I absolutely need to interject because I have to point something out to you guys. Did you notice how Hawkins made an extremely devastating blow to his argument and he conveniently glossed over it like he didn't even hear it? Hawkins stated that she has evidence that unborn babies absolutely do have a will to live and to self-preservation in the form of ultrasounds that were taking place during abortions. That you could visibly see those innocent babies crying out for help in agony because of what was being done to them. And yet this guy, who's able to fit the entire DC collection of comics on one shirt, pretends like he didn't hear it. If you guys have noticed, the theme with these people is that they're very good at ignoring anything and everything that destroys their morally bankrupt ideology.
Do I suddenly not become a person?
I said consciousness. Yes, if you lack consciousness completely, you cannot think by definition.
Even if somebody is unconscious in a coma, I would say that person still has value. You're making an assessment that you want to go around and be like, you have this value,
but if a person never had a consciousness in the first place,
every human being has the ability to have consciousness.
Has the ability to have consciousness.
Absolutely.
I'm talking about before that consciousness comes into existence.
See, this is exactly what it always turns into. He's desperately trying to sew a bunch of disjointed points together in order to make a point that he stands no chance of making. He's trying to hammer down this point about consciousness, which is idiotic at best, because he thinks that this is his best chance at sounding like he knows what the heck he's talking about. He's trying to make a connection between formed and remembered memories and the right for someone to live. Here's the problem with that logic. There are people who go out and get plastered every weekend and have literally no memories of their life after tequila shot number 6. Does that mean you have the right to terminate them? There are people who have been in comas for long periods of time and wake up out of nowhere. And no matter how rare it may be, it still does happen, which means that if you terminated one of those individuals during their coma, you would have ended the life of someone who still had a chance to survive. Hell, by this guy's logic, anytime someone falls asleep, you can take their life because they're not conscious. Do you guys see how absolutely ridiculous this line of thinking is?
So are you okay with abortion up until the cerebral cortex is formed at 21, 22 weeks? But then you're against abortion after that because the brain is fully formed at that point, the cerebral cortex is in place. Is that your argument?
I'm saying we don't have enough understanding as to when that decision is made to enforce a law that prevents people from being able to live their own life.
A unique genetic code comes into existence.
But
that
you're
is a
saying
human life.
Should be valued just because it's alive.
Yeah, because I don't believe in discriminating human beings. The pro-life movement's our argument is very simple. We believe that human beings are special and they shouldn't be killed simply at the whim of somebody else and how convenient or inconvenient they may be to somebody else. And that starts a slippery slope because what you've just argued, sir.
There you and I have a moral disagreement, though. Or have a basic disagreement. I don't think humans are special. And
you think I'm the same as my value is the same as a cockroach?
No, yeah, actually, in the grand scheme of the universe, yes. I think you are about as valuable as a cockroach.
Does a human being have capacity for consciousness?
Sure, a human being does, but at what point is it a human being?
At the moment of conception, because biology confirms human and human, when they have sex, can only make a human. So it's absolutely a human being at the moment of conception when that unique genetic code comes into existence.
I'm just going to go ahead and say it. For this guy to talk about having the form of a human being, or anyone's form for that matter, you know what? I'm going to leave it alone. I'm not even going to go down that road. I'm a man of Christ, and I have to do my best to stay on the right road here, so I'm going to just go ahead and move on. But what I found most interesting is when he shot himself in the foot by saying a human being does not have a capacity for consciousness if it never reaches it. Now, this guy as a college student thinks that he has subjectively figured out when an innocent unborn baby has value because it has no consciousness. Therefore, its life does not matter. It doesn't have any value because it never reaches the capacity for consciousness. So what is this word that we keep throwing around and what he claims is the prerequisite for having value as a human being? Well, consciousness, a psychological condition defined by the English philosopher John Locke, is the perception of what passes in a man's own mind. Simple enough, right? Until you get into what that perception actually means, and you get answers like this from psychologytoday.com. Consciousness is what we are most familiar with, feeling the sun's warmth on our face, the joy of seeing someone that we love, or the thrill of being on a roller coaster. Every single experience we ever had, from sensations to thoughts and emotions, is linked to consciousness. It seems paradoxical, but despite being at the center of every experience, consciousness is difficult to define and still poorly understood scientifically. Now, I want to touch on one of the first points there when the article stated the joy of seeing someone we love. Now, there's no way that you guys watching this video haven't seen a baby smile or get excited when they see someone that they love or when they hear the voice of their mother from across the room. When my wife was pregnant with one of my babies several years ago, I literally was not allowed to speak when I was laying in bed at night. If my daughter heard my voice, she would stretch her entire body out inside of my wife to try and get to me. Needless to say, this wasn't comfortable for my wife, hence why I wasn't allowed to say anything. The point is, even while my wife was pregnant, all of my children jumped for joy and reacted to voices that they recognized all the time. So I don't want to hear this nonsense about babies not having the capacity for consciousness when unborn children have been documented reacting the same way to stimuli that their born counterparts react to in the same manner every single day. It's absolutely ridiculous.
What have I advocated for?
There's nothing.
What have if I am wrong in my life mission, what have I advocated for?
Taking rights away from women.
I have advocated inconveniencing women across America for 9 months of their
Ruining
life.
their lives, not inconveniencing.
Not ruining, because I
Ruining.
believe women are empowered and actually can make a choice whether to place with an adoptive family or not, if they choose not to parent, or take advantage of our numerous safe haven laws that are available in every single state. If I'm wrong, I've inconvenienced women across America for 9 months. When human beings say, my liberty supersedes another person's right to life, or my pursuit of a profit
they're not a person.
supersedes.
They don't
the
think.
Supreme Court and the Congress once said that black people weren't persons either. Do you agree with that? No, of course you don't agree with that. You would say that's absurd, just like how I would say that's absurd. What I'm saying is this is a human rights movement, and sadly, many of our countrymen are going of the way of what happened when we had slavery exist in the United States. They've fallen into a trap by the predatory abortion industry, who profits off of the despair of women, who profits off of every abortion, that says, oh no, they're not persons. They're not persons. Just like how the slave industry said that black Americans weren't persons. Those things are equally wrong, because they're human beings. Your skin color, your age, your sex, your gender, who you were born to, whether or not your parents loved you, doesn't change your value. That at the moment of conception, when egg and sperm united, you became you and you had a unique genetic code, and that you, sir, are still worthy of value. I am still worthy of value. A child inside of me is still worthy to be valued, still has fundamentally, they're a part of our species.
But you would agree that a potential value is different from an actual value, correct?
No, I never said potential. They all have value. There's no potential value. Humans don't have, they're a human with potential. They're not a potential human. I'm a human with potential, just like my child is a human with potential. Just like how a 5-day-old embryo is a human with potential.
I disagree.
You have an issue with someone's geography.
Let's not move this to a different.
I'm trying to make sense of your argument, sir, because you've been making an argument that you believe that human beings only have value when they have consciousness. I've demonstrated to you without actually fancy science when human beings have consciousness. Then you still agree that abortion should be legal.
You've demonstrated a potential for consciousness, not consciousness.
Well, I'm telling you, so the researchers, scientists, and philosophers say that about 3 months after birth is when a human being has full consciousness and can express a will to live. Oxford University study, Peter Sanger, Princeton. That's widely agreed upon. What I'm saying is your argument that consciousness determines whether or not a person gets to live means that, therefore, to be philosophically consistent with your position, you've got to be okay with a mother and father choosing to end the life of a child up to 3 months out of utero. And if you're not okay with that, you've got to go back and find another reason to justify abortion in all 9 months.
I think I am okay with it, actually. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for admitting it.
And there it is, progressives. At least someone on your side is willing to admit how egregiously pathetic your outlook on life is. This isn't about women's rights, and it isn't about ruining women's lives. This is about the ability to fornicate nonstop and have the ability to legally end the lives of as many unborn innocent babies as you want, so long as you don't have to stop jumping from bed to bed. It's about disobedience to God at every turn, and God help anyone who tells you the truth. Well, guess what? We're not going to stop advocating for the right of unborn babies. You know why? Because you failed in your duties to do so. You're so unaccountable as mothers and fathers that you're sacrificing your babies to Molech on a daily basis, and what's even more pathetic is you don't even know that's what you're doing. Your father, the devil, has his hook so far into you that you're not even aware of what you're doing spiritually. You live your life under the guise of supposed societal norms and laws, but never once stop to think, man, am I doing the right thing? No, of course you don't, because the only thing that matters to you is you and your convenience, your pleasures and your narcissism. But understand that when it comes down to it, we're not going to stop speaking up for those babies that you refuse to stand up for, because your maternal and paternal instinct are so pathetically absent. It's up to people who actually value life to speak the truth. To sit there and casually shrug it off when someone talks about ending the life of a child, even 3 full months after they're born, isn't even pathetic, it's detestable. And most importantly, guys, we cannot forget about the most important part of the discussion, the biblical scripture that applies to detestable dispositions, such as the one displayed by the guy in this video. The entire time listening to him, I could not stop thinking about Psalms 37, verses 5 through 9. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in him and he will do this. He will make your righteous rewards shine like the dawn, your vindication like the noonday sun. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wicked schemes. Refrain from anger and turn away from wrath. Do not fret, it leads only to evil. For those who are evil will be destroyed, but those who hope in the Lord will inherit the land. But let me know what you guys think. Type amen in the comments section if you agree, and if you don't, that's fine. Leave those comments also, just keep it respectful. As always, guys, please don't forget to like, sub, and click that bell for event notifications. And if you love the content and want to support, you can hit that join button, and the sponsor trailer video will let you know how you can do that. And of course, thank you for even considering it. As always, be safe, be good, be blessed. I will see you guys when I see you. And remember that Jesus is king, guys. Do not put off a relationship with him, because if you close your eyes for the last time, it's already too late. Have a good one.